Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Wazcast. No intro needed. Well, no fancy intro. You are joined by myself, Waz, my co-host Peyton,
What's
and
up?
then later on the podcast, my boy or my friend Walker will join me to discuss the Calgary Flames. He's a passionate Flames fan, and yeah, I enjoy talking to him about the Flames. So I'm happy to introduce you to him later. But for now, we're going to talk about the Edmonton Oilers and the insane week that was. It was a really strange week, Peyton.
It was. It's very weird. I mean, when is it? It's always weird in oil
Honestly,
country.
man.
There's never a dull moment.
Yeah, and honestly, I have actually the Pittsburgh Penguins versus Florida Panthers game on the side here, and Florida just tied at 3-3. So, hey, the Pittsburgh Penguins making competitive against a top team in the East, and it kind of shows you that every team's still competitive, right? So,
Yeah.
which is actually not good because I have Tristan Jarry on my fantasy team, and yeah,
Are
my
you playing
fantasy.
Eli right now?
Yeah, I'm playing our boy Eli at Nation HQ. That's not good. That's not good. Do I have Lundell on my team? I have Lindell, but Lundell just scored. Not good. I may get
No.
eliminated. We are running out of time and points. So, hey, I made the playoffs. That's what that matters. But let's get to the Edmonton Oilers and the week that was Peyton. Because to start off this week, the Edmonton Oilers took on Utah, which was, hey, everything went perfect.
Yes. I was at the game. It was a great game to go to. I feel like that was one of the best wins of this Oilers season. It was a great game. Um, it was literally the if definition of perfect was that game. Like I loved every single part of that game. I wish we could play like that every single night. And people said Utah's a bad team. They're literally in a playoff race, so they're actually not that bad. Everyone's like, "Oh, well, it's only Utah." They're not that bad of a team. Like I don't know. I felt like it was a great win.
Yeah, Utah currently so far in the standings, they are. Let me see here. They are sixth in the Western or in the Central Division in the wild card race. They're kind of in it. Yeah, they're only 2 points behind like the Calgary Flames, who are trying to get into the playoffs as well here. So
Mm.
Utah has had a decent season for their first year in Utah, and the Oilers put the sword to them. However, at the expense of, I believe, Leon Draisaitl getting injured somehow. I forget where and when it happened, but yeah, everything was going swimmingly well. But we were all hoping Leon Draisaitl would score a goal 50, continue his point streak, but instead he gets injured.
Which is surprising because we rarely see Draisaitl getting injured. I don't know the last time. Like the guy plays through every
Yeah,
single injury. He could have a broken leg and he'd still be skating
well,
somehow.
I don't know how that would be possible, but yeah, I see what you mean.
Hey,
Like,
Draisaitl finds a way. He always finds a way, and I'm like, I don't know. It's kind of surprising, but I mean, it's kind of good. I kind of like how we're being precautionary. We're not
mhm.
rushing him back into anything. I like that.
Yeah, and I mean, just talking about that Utah game, it was interesting that like everyone said like it was a perfect hockey game. Everything was going right for the Oilers. There was people saying how the Oilers now how this is the best defensive pairing they've ever had. Well, not ever had, but in the
Hmm.
last number of years. I mean, I think we
Yeah.
said that last year, like saying how this is the best defense that the Oilers has had. Um, but I do believe for Leon Draisaitl, that was I'm trying to look at Jack Michaels. He put out a tweet saying Leon Draisaitl likely to miss just his sixth game in the last 7 years. That was crazy, which he
That's
missed
insane.
against Winnipeg.
It's insane. He hasn't like Draisaitl is
Mm-hmm.
the guy is not human. He is not real. Like I don't think he's real.
Not this year. He does an incredible. He does an incredible job with his body.
Yes.
Whatever way you want to put that. Um, Next up, the Oilers took on the Winnipeg Jets, which I mean that was a game that credit to the Oilers for hanging on until OT, considering everything that was happening with Stuart Skinner, Draisaitl didn't play, Connor McDavid left after the second period, didn't return the third. Just a lot of things changing on the fly for the Oilers, and that's I think they adapted well to what was happening. And for Zach Hyman and a few other players to kind of step up, take it to OT. Unfortunately, they couldn't get the 2 points. They did get a point, and the Winnipeg Jets, good team. They played the Oilers first game of the season. They beat them with 6-0. So step in the right direction, even though things are going poorly.
100%. No. I thought it was a great game for the Oilers. I was at that game as well. It was just a game where if you get a point, sneak out with the
Mm-hmm.
point, it's kind of like a win, even though it's not a win. I felt like we needed that point. We played against one of the best teams, if not the best team in the NHL, which I don't think they're the best team in the NHL. I think their first round exits. I'm calling it right
Oh
now.
wow.
It's a big take. I think
I
when
don't know,
eh,
man.
dude, this happens every single year. It's literally I remember last year when it was them versus the Avalanche, and they're like, "This could be Winnipeg's year. This is Winnipeg's year," and then they got bounced first round. So I don't know. I liked the game though. I liked how we came out with 1 point. McDavid went out, Skinner went out, Pickard had to come in. I thought with adversity, we still managed to come up with the W, which was huge.
Yeah, and I mean, the Winnipeg Jets last year, they took it, like you said, they took the Abs in the first round. They got bounced, but like I
Yes.
think this year they're going to have a bit of an easier opponent, especially if they're first in the West. Like they're going to play either Calgary or St. Louis, which I think they can beat. So I think they'll definitely get out of the first round this year. After that, who knows? I mean, the Central is a pretty good division right now. There's a lot of good teams there. So, but they have Connor Hellebuck. I think they're going to need their forwards to kind of step up in the playoffs.
Mhm.
For example, you can go into the playoffs and all of a sudden your offense kind of cools down. And we saw that with the Oilers in 22-23 when they lost to Vegas, right? A lot of
Yep.
people kind of pinned that on the goaltending, Stuart Skinner. And you know what? He wasn't great in those playoffs. That was his first playoff run. But the same breath, the Oilers, they had like career years across the board for almost everyone. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins had a 100-point season. They had the entire roster scored 10 plus goals. The depth forwards, and yet they got bounced in the second round. Like the offense just kind of evaporated against Vegas, and that's I mean credit to Vegas. They played very good defensive, tough, gritty hockey, and that's why they won the cup that year. I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, that was very
Aiden
depressing.
Hill. Yeah, it's crazy what a goaltender can do sometimes. Hey,
It is.
but
I wish we could feel that, but maybe one
well,
day.
the Winnipeg game, I'm not really pinning on the goaltending. I think Stu kind of played
No.
fine.
Yeah.
Like to be honest, that was just a really boring, low event hockey game, and it just I haven't watched a lot of Winnipeg Jets hockey this year, but it just makes me think like I don't want to watch the Jets ever again. I'm sorry, that was very boring.
Dude, I wanted to fall asleep. It was
You were at
they
I thought you were at the game for that one too.
I was, and I wanted to fall asleep.
Oh,
They play such boring hockey. It's
I
very
don't know.
boring to
Yeah,
watch.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But that was the game where Connor McDavid also got injured, and I'm not really sure what happened there with Josh Morrissey. Like nothing looked malicious.
No.
I just got like I don't know what happened. It just he kind of I don't know if it's maybe like somebody was saying rib, groin. I'm not a doctor. We're not going to play doctor here and everything. But
I don't think anyone
yeah,
knows what it is. Like, I thought it was wrist at first. I thought it was ribs. I heard ankle. Like, I've heard so many things.
it
No
kind of
one
looked
knows.
like just. I mean, I don't know if this is the right word, ligament, but something just like moved like incredibly fast, and I think he kind of just like twisted something and just
Hmm.
had some discomfort. And it's a good thing that they were being precautionary. But interesting enough, now that we'll get to the Seattle game here. The Edmonton Oilers now, after the Seattle game, I do believe, let me see here, are 5-2 without Connor McDavid in the lineup.
Maybe we don't need him anymore.
Makes you think. Shout out to Nick on Twitter for pointing that out. Hey, it shows the Oilers can win without 97 a little consistently. I'm not complaining with that.
Yeah, and I saw a TikTok yesterday. It was like a Leafs fan. He was saying the Oilers aren't going to win. They're not going to win a single game with McDavid and Draisaitl out of the lineup.
That's
Shows
ridiculous.
this team.
Bro,
Shows this
what?
team has depth.
Yeah,
It shows.
and I kind of like the like I said on Twitter, I was pretty excited to see what the Oilers can do without 97 and 29 going forward, and giving
Yeah.
players like Henrique, Skinner, Nuge more ice time. The last thing I want to say about the Winnipeg game, I was not a fan of Darnell Nurse's game. He looked a little lost mentally.
Yeah.
He's had a good year for sure. I think it's been kind of overblown a little bit. I think he's kind of come back down to reality. I think he had a good first half of the season, and then he's been a little steady. But hopefully, he kind of picks up his game come playoff time. But yeah, Nurse, he had a stinker against Winnipeg, and I thought he was all right against Seattle as well.
He did. I'm gonna cut Nurse some slack. I feel like this has been one of his best seasons in a while, and we all kind of know after every All-Star break / Four Nations break, he kind of sucks after a little bit.
Yeah.
So maybe he's trying to get into the groove of things once again. But honestly, I like Nurse's game. But yeah, it was a rough game against the Jets. I don't know what he was doing on a 3-on-3
Yeah.
overtime. He's dumping the puck. Like, what are you doing? Like, it makes no sense.
in general, there was a lot of noise around the Oilers this week because the prime minister. Well, I mean, I don't
Funny
want to get
thing
in.
was, he was sitting right in front of me.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
and everyone was taking pictures, and I don't know anything about politics. I
You
had no
don't,
clue who he was.
which is a good thing because yeah, we don't like to get into politics on this podcast. We probably
Yes,
won't.
I
It was
know.
just, I just thought it was funny when he showed up and all the media was talking about him, and it's like, oh my god, this is gonna be an absolute shit show on social media, and it was,
Yes.
and people calling it the Carney curse because he was at the game, and then McDavid gets hurt, the team falls apart, Stu gets hurt. It's like Jesus, it was just
It's all his
yeah,
fault.
yeah. So we're gonna leave it at that. We're gonna park that bus because honestly, I don't know too much about the guy. I'm not the biggest political guy.
Same.
So is Peyton. We like to talk about sports, not politics. So
100%.
let's move on to the Seattle game where the Oilers were McDavid and Draisaitl for the first time. Well, not the first time ever, but it was like the first time they were both not available for selection, I guess.
Mhm.
Which was the last time that happened was before McDavid was drafted, which was very dark times.
Yes.
Um, crazy. But the Oilers, they had a pretty solid game, I thought, against the Seattle Kraken. But I think the one thing that annoyed me was, I don't like to be too negative, was the performance of Stuart Skinner. And I don't want to sound like a Skinner hater because I've been a supporter of his. But man, these inconsistent performances have not been fun. And I know we have a lot more to talk about that game considering around Nugent Hopkins, but some of those goals Skinner was letting in, like, they're not entirely all his fault, but you
No.
can tell he was a little slow with his like left to right movements, the lateral, the tracking the puck. I find sometimes with Skinner to be a little off. Not I'm not trying to shit on the guy, but man, there was moments where like, can I get a save because we would score and then they would score on us, and it was like, oh my god, this is a headache. Just stop the fucking puck.
Yes. No, I 100% agree with you. There's just moments where Skinner, it's like the thing that just makes me so mad is he makes those big saves, but then he lets in the crappy ones.
Yeah,
It's so
yeah.
frustrating. It's like, I think it was a third goal. It was just that there was just that wrist shot. And I was like, holy crap, what a shot. But then you watch the replay and it's like, never mind. That was not even a good shot. How the hell did he not save that? It's just,
Yeah.
at this point, I don't even care about Stuart Skinner. I'm tired of even talking about goaltending. It's
It's
not
an
going to change. Hopefully, it does change. Do I think it will change? No.
it is an exhausting conversation to have here in Edmonton, but it was brought up on After Hours with Scott
Stan Bowman.
Bowman. He talked about it. Scott Bowman, and he basically said, yeah, the numbers aren't great, but they're helping us win hockey games, and that's what matters the most. And he felt like it's the criticism has been a little bit too much for Stuart Skinner and Calvin Pickard, but I don't know, man. Stuart Skinner right now is an 895. Stats don't lie. That's not a pretty number unless you're
No.
counting that as a team stat, right? Like, you look at Connor Helbig against the Winnipeg Jets. He allowed a few goals there, but he still has some pretty unreal numbers, helping his team win. And I don't know. I hope Stuart Skinner can kind of turn it around the playoffs. And right now we're in a situation where the Oilers kind of have to play good hockey in front of him for him to be successful. Which, I mean, doesn't sound crazy, but I don't know. Maybe I want more out of him. I want consistency because
I think that's the main thing, it's just consistency. He
yeah,
has
we
no
talked about it.
consistency in his game. That's what he needs. If he can bring that into his game, we'll be okay. We'll be great.
Yeah, against the Rangers, he had a 955. Then Winnipeg, I mean, he only had 16 shots against 813, 871 against Seattle. Like, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm being too nitpicky here, but like, it's come on, Stu, you got this, bro. You got this.
Yes, we believe in you.
Yeah, as
Sometimes.
vanilla as that sounds, but
Sometimes I believe in him. Sometimes.
speaking on that Seattle game, Ryan Nugent Hopkins really being the face of the franchise that he was always destined to be when he was selected first overall in 2011, right?
Hmm. Yes, he looked
Hat trick.
great. I mean, that was Nugent's best game of the year by far. All three goals were really impressive. I thought the third one was the most impressive. That empty net goal was
Dude, that
absolutely
goal was
insane.
nice. So,
Dude, it's a
for
great empty net goal.
for a team that struggles to score empty nets, he made it look so easy. Like, I hope
Yeah,
Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid were taking notes behind those
please.
closed doors and like how to score an empty net because those guys, for whatever reason, struggle to hit the back of the net when there is no goaltender.
They're really
Ryan
good
Nu-
at scoring when goalies are in the net, but
yeah, I
when the
don't get it.
goalies aren't in the net, it's just
But
Casper the Ghost is just making beautiful saves.
Ryan Nugent Hopkins made it look so seamless.
Yeah.
And Nuge in his last 5 games, I do believe his
I think
last
he has
5
9
games,
points. I'm
6
taking a
points
wild
in his last
guess.
5. That's gonna be old. So, someone
I
give
think he
me.
has 9 was.
He's got 11 games and he's got 11 points in 10 games. So hey, he's scoring. Nuge is
He's
huge.
balling. Nuge is
Yeah.
balling. A whole team was balling. Nuge was the best player yesterday. I think he finally realized, like, oh crap, I can actually score. Because in that game yesterday, he was actually shooting the puck and he has a great shot. I thought Jeff Skinner also played really well. Everyone just stepped up yesterday. And that's what
Mhm.
I think, yeah, McDavid and Draisaitl being injured sucks, but you could kind of look at it as in a good way because now more people are going to want to step up during this stretch, and maybe when Draisaitl and Connor come back, they're still going to play like that, and then everyone is just going to be stepping up, and hopefully they all step up, which they did yesterday.
And Kevin Bieksa had a pretty crazy comparison in the second intermission. He said that Ryan Nugent Hopkins kind of reminds him of Joe Sakic, almost like a lesser version. And Joe Sakic was an incredible player in his time, obviously, but mostly just because Ryan Nugent Hopkins is such an intelligent player. He doesn't really have that physicality, but every coach that's ever talked about him just says how smart of a player he is, how he can be kind of used in almost every situation. He's very deceptive. He's crafty with the puck. He's got that shot that he can kind of rip whenever he gets the opportunity. So Ryan Nugent Hopkins, who knows how many points he gets down this little stretch without McDavid and Draisaitl, but Nuge getting hot at the right time for the Oilers, that's you can't ask for more than that.
100%. And that's why if Draisaitl and them come back and Nuge is still on fire, it seems going to be a hard team to beat. Very hard team to beat.
Oh, I agree with you. And my only downside from that Seattle game was Derek Ryan got kicked out of the faceoff circle.
I know. I thought you paid.
What's up with that, man? What?
I don't know. Relax. Relax.
Dude, he only played like 7 minutes against Seattle.
I just he's just he's a great player. Maybe they just want to rest him a little bit.
Yeah, I think there. No, honestly though, it was great to see Derek Ryan back with the team and called
He
up.
played well. Like I didn't see anything.
Yeah, it was
wrong with
okay.
him.
He did his role, I guess. That's all you can ask from him. I mean, he hasn't played in a while too, I assume, because he had to come from Bakersfield and just. Hey, it's good. I think it's just good for him to be around the team,
Yeah, he's a good leader. That's why I think we brought him up because of his leadership.
And he's good on faceoffs, other than
That
when he's
too.
getting kicked out.
That
And
too.
Derek Ryan, it's I do love all the attention. Well, I like attention. No surprise. I work in social media, but it is fun when Derek Ryan does something or he gets called up and people are tagging me on Twitter, and it's a lot of fun. I feel the love for him, everybody. And interesting enough, Derek Ryan's spouse actually likes my posts about him. Or when I made that video, when I walked into the office wearing the jersey, she commented on the video and said, "You're the best." I'm like, "Thank you."
Yeah, I saw that. That was sick.
That was very
That's
sweet of her.
awesome.
So it's always nice to see that kind of stuff because there are some weird people on social media who, I mean, I stopped talking about Derek Ryan for a little bit or stopped mentioning him for a little bit because people started getting weird with it, calling me like obsessed, a stalker, this and that. I'm like, kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to pipe down a little bit. I mean, there was no need to bring him up because he got sent down. But I guess some people started getting annoyed. I'm like, you know what? That's fair. I can see it. I think for a time there, I talked about him too much for no good reason.
I didn't see anything wrong with that. I think those people are just bored.
Well, they're sad too. Some people are just they like to breathe negativity and
they're just bored individuals. They're just bored. They don't know what to do.
I'll add something to you, Peyton. Your boy Matthias Janmark. I think he's been looking better recently.
Step in the right direction, I don't know, man. It's just I miss.
I don't think he's been bad.
No, he hasn't been bad. It's just like, man, Janmark last year used to score goals, and that's the thing that I liked about him.
That is bold to say. You're pushing him, man.
He used to score some. Like he used to be
what are you talking about?
He scored like 10 goals last year. Am I wrong?
Bro, I think you're wrong. I mean, maybe in the playoffs he scored like 3. Matthias Janmark's stats last year.
It was 1 year he scored 10.
Bro, he scored 4 goals last year.
So then why is everyone getting so how many goals does he have this year? Like 3?
2.
So listen, like I think it's weird, man. Like
He
I
did
think it's because
score
he really
10
popped
and
off in the playoffs. I think in the playoffs he had like
yeah.
4 goals
Well,
or
did you see that
5
little
or 3.
post we put on Oilers Nation? We shared somebody's little edit of him, and like,
All of my friends thought that was me. They're like, "This is 100% Peyton posted this." I was like, "No, that was not me."
that was
But
me.
no, Janmark, I just feel the opportunities are coming. I think everyone, even me, was expecting playoff Janmark through the whole regular season. But I think people got to realize too, Janmark's role is to play defense on this team, and I think in the playoffs, like that's when Janmark comes out and he plays like playoff Matthias Janmark.
I'll admit, I think he is due for a goal. I think he's been creating some good like offensive opportunities for the Oilers. He skates really well. He forechecks fine, I think, for his role. And he also just brings a little bit more speed than most players on the Oilers. So I think that's why he is in the lineup so often. So I've kind of liked Janmark's game as of late. It's
Hmm.
just he can't seem to find the back of the net or generate any offense. But
No,
besides
it's
that,
just
I think he kind of ticks the little boxes that the coaches like.
yeah, I don't know. Matthias, he's gonna find the back of the net one of
I
these
hope
games,
so.
and then he's gonna just ride on that through the playoffs. You know what? He's gonna score in Vegas. I'm telling you right now, when you guys are there
Yeah.
at Oilers Nation Vacation, Matthias Janmark is going to score.
I would hope so.
Book it. He's
Um,
scoring. Place a bet. I'm
uh,
telling you.
okay. We'll see. I mean, but to finish this off about the Seattle game, Jeff Skinner. I mean, he's been having a good couple of games here. A lot of people were annoyed because he scored 2 goals against Winnipeg, and then a lot of people online were saying how, oh, Chris Knobloch demoting Jeff Skinner after 2 goal performance. What is this? I didn't really view it as a demotion. I just viewed it as Knobloch trying to put a little bit of everything on
Mhm.
each line, trying to make every line effective. And I thought him and Connor Brown did well in that third line. Like with McDavid and Draisaitl out, I don't think it really matters where Jeff Skinner is in the lineup as long as he's getting those minutes. And he got
Yeah.
close to I think 18 minutes against Seattle. So I'm excited to see what the team will do against Dallas because they got a back-to-back coming up here.
Yeah, I'm actually going to that Dallas game too. I feel like I'm just going to every single game.
Yeah,
But
honestly, man.
no, I mean Jeff Skinner, like I think Knobloch's maybe finally opening up his eyes a little bit here and seeing how good Jeff Skinner is, which I like. But man, just Jeff Skinner's cooking, man. Just keep letting him cook. And I'm telling you, the guy's a great hockey player. We see it. He has a great shot. I think when McDavid comes back, Jeff Skinner deserves to be on that first line. He
Mm-hmm.
1000% deserves to be on that first line.
Just to wrap things up with the talking about the week that was. Somebody on Twitter just added me, and I thought it was a great thing to note. Shout out to Shalafi, who says, everyone bashes our goalies, yet here we are, second in division with a good chance to win it. If we play well down the stretch, quit expecting perfection every night and enjoy the journey. The real season starts soon, so relax and enjoy. I like the way you think there.
100%.
I
No,
think
whoever, yeah, that's a great way to put it. Great way.
Shalafi, I liked
Shalafi.
it.
Shout out Shalafi.
Positive. Positive vibes.
Great guy.
Up ahead for the Oilers, we have a couple games this week. The Oilers take on the Dallas Stars on Wednesday at 8 p.m., which, I mean, we played them just recently, which was a 5-4 score. Like I would say like I'm on the team, but I just cheer for the team, man. Seattle on Thursday, so it's the second half of a back-to-back. And then the Calgary Flames on Saturday.
I'm excited for this week ahead. It's going to be very fun.
Yeah.
Thursday is going to be fun. Wednesday is going to be we all know why Thursday is going to be fun, what chaos is coming in. But
Yep.
I think for Dallas, they've been weird. They've gotten Rantanen, and I think they're like 2 and I think they're last time I checked, they were like 2-2. They're not playing great. Then we got the Kraken back again. Do you think McDavid and them are gonna be back for the Dallas Stars game? For my prediction,
No.
I think Draisaitl will be back. I don't think McDavid will be back.
I feel like Draisaitl will be back for the Vegas game on Tuesday, so a week from now, which I'm oiled to get.
Jeez,
But
that's so far. I
I
don't
don't know,
know if we'll be
man.
gone for that
But
long,
I see
man.
where you're coming from. I maybe honestly Saturday. I think the Flames game is more realistic for one of them to be back.
I guess.
Yeah,
Sure.
but I'm excited. Like the BOA, last time we played Calgary was was in November and October. Although I'm going to talk more about the Flames, my buddy Walker here in a bit, so stay tuned for that. The Dallas Stars. Let's just check out how the Stars played this week
I
because
think
they've
they
had a lot of.
lost to the Ducks in like a shootout. They've been weird. They've been spiraling. It's
They
weird.
play. Yeah, they lost to the Lightning in a shootout on Thursday, so they've had a lot of rest actually. They play. Yeah, they beat the Ducks in OT.
They beat the
They
Ducks penalty.
they barely played this week, so they're going to be somewhat rested. And then of course we saw what the Kraken are made of. So
Yeah.
and the Flames, well, they're kind of in a playoff spot. They're fighting for one, so it's been. The interesting thing about Calgary is that in both their games against Edmonton, they have not played Dustin Wolf, who's been the reason that why they've been very competitive. So keep an eye out for that.
Dustin Wolf, great goalie. Scared to play him.
Yeah.
Scared to play him. But
Uh,
I think we'll win.
With that being said, I saw interestingly enough. I was downtown yesterday afternoon and just doing some shopping, and at a red light beside Rogers Place, I think I saw Trent Frederick walking.
That's sick.
Yeah.
They're always walking around there because at one time I went, it was when the NFL playoffs were on. I was walking and I literally just walked by Todd Colson. Literally just walked by him. So I think they're all always down there. Always.
Well, the players who were like recently acquired, I think they just stay at the Marriott
Yeah,
until they
I
actually
think
have a place.
Wallman said that too. Wallman said he's still there.
Okay, good. I didn't want to sound like I'm doxing them. It's just that's I think what Ekholm said that when he first got acquired. It's like, yeah, I don't have a place right now. I'm just staying in the Marriott. And he was just going for a walk. I think he was on the phone. He was just had his AirPods in, chatting with someone. So I mean, Trent Frederick is probably not much for him to do right now. Like from what we know, it was an ankle injury, and I don't know if you ever rolled your ankle. That takes a little bit of time to heal. There's so much you can do. You just gotta be patient.
Yeah, I'm excited for Trent Frederick. I thought it would be a little bit quicker. 2 weeks is kind of annoying, but I think when he comes back, he's going to make an automatic impact. It's going to be. I'm excited for Trent Frederick. I'm super excited for Trent Frederick.
Oh yeah, it'll be good. Yeah, but it won't be for a few more weeks, so we'll see. Hopefully, we can get him. Hopefully, the Oilers can get him in some of those games against the Sharks.
That's what I'm thinking. I don't want him to
smart.
come. I don't want him to come during the playoffs. Like that's one thing I don't.
Oh no, he'll be there. He'll be here before the playoffs. I bet.
Yeah, I just want him to play before the playoffs. I don't want him to just come in during the playoffs. I want him to get some reps, get used to the team, and then bring him into the playoffs. Which him and Kane in the playoffs, people don't understand. Those two additions are going to be insane. Those are two guys that are kind of similar. Well, not really similar. I think Kane has a more offensive game, I guess. But those two, when they come back, they're going to be dangerous, very dangerous.
Also, since a little bit of football chatter, I want to get your thoughts on something. Did you hear what the Edmonton Elks GM said?
No, I do not keep up with CFL.
Well, this is why I want your thoughts, because he said that the CFL has no superstars.
He's right. I don't know. And dude, there was moments, maybe it's because I don't care about the CFL. There's a quarterback, Mike Riley. He literally walked right by me, and I guess at the time he was like a big player in the CFL. I didn't care. I think the biggest superstar to ever come to the CFL, probably like Ocho, when Johnny Manziel came to the CFL, that was pretty cool. Otherwise, it's 100% true. The CFL has no superstars, and I don't know why that general manager is talking like they deserve superstars. Like if
no. So to add some clarity, he was on the Jason Greger show, and he said a superstar for me is like a Muhammad Ali, Michael Jordan. That's all. Guys that are like known globally on all that stuff. And I feel like he's got a fair point, because like even me, I'm a casual football fan. I follow the Elks a little bit, but I have trouble naming some of the players or any star players in the CFL. So I think for me, a superstar is somebody that a casual fan can name, like, or someone who doesn't even follow the league can name. Like I can name top players in the NFL, but maybe just more globally renowned. But there's not really a globally renowned player in the CFL. And
no,
like, I mean, for me, the superstars when I was growing up, like at least Anthony Calvillo was a pretty good player. I don't think he was like, of course, as well known as I think maybe Ed Hervey's trying to refer to.
Yeah,
but Ricky Ray was a superstar for a little bit, and for the CFL, but I don't know. I and apparently people got pissed off with that comment, because he's not wrong.
No, he's not. If those people, I think it's the people that are getting pissed are people that are really into the CFL. Because for me, I don't know anyone in the CFL. You could
But
quiz me to name 10 players right now. I don't think I can name one.
like this
Genuinely.
person responded like, "This guy thinks he's the shit and absolutely so completely out of touch. It's unreal. Like, how is he out of touch? He's got a point. Ex professional, 11 rings
He does.
with who? Who's this? AGN. I don't know who this guy is. Oh, apparently he played for in the CFL. Never mind. There you go. Uh, name a super like I don't know.
You
That's
can't.
just my thoughts. I don't think the CFL has a superstar, and that's fine. I think what matters is just getting Canadians to watch the CFL and to go to games. I think that's what matters right now.
100%.
So, I like what Trent Wilhock said on social media. Superstars are players who transcend the game to another level. These are players like McDavid, Messi, Otani. The CFL does not have these players. Ed Hervey is right. Suck it up, CFLPA. Because yeah, apparently the CFLPA was pretty pissed off. Like, we're insulted that you don't think we was a superstar.
That guy's right, though. He's right. They don't have any superstars. Like, I mean, and if any superstar went there, they would probably be going there for a
Hey
year and then
man,
going to the NFL. Like, I'm
Alfonso
sorry.
Davies, I think is more well known than any CFL player.
Yes. Oh,
And I
let's
don't
not
know if
even.
I don't know if he's a superstar in Canada, but even in Europe, I don't think he's had a lot of injuries, so I think he's not as hyped as he used to be, but he's still pretty good. Like, but yeah, it's interesting. Also, speaking of Canadian soccer, Team Canada beat the USA in soccer. Very happy to see that in the men's side.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch the game. I saw the score, so
Good. Jonathan
honestly,
Davis scored a really nice goal. Yeah, it's beating the U.S. in home soil is becoming a habit for Canada. So
it's
love
our
to see it.
sport. It's our sport.
Honestly, maybe. um, what else? I think that's about it. Peyton, we're gonna probably wrap things up here, and then I'm gonna go chat with my boy Walker. With that being said, I don't know when the next pod is going to be. Like next Sunday, I fly out to Vegas 7 a.m. I was thinking we can try and do one early, but hey, maybe I'll just do a recap episode from after Vegas. So I hope you guys enjoy this one and enjoy my conversation with my boy Walker. All right, welcome to the Wazcast BOA preview. Joining me is Walker Pipe Guy, buddy of mine through the Edmonton Twitch community, which was a while back, but still then. Probably one of my favorite Flames fans to talk with because you're hilarious and you have great knowledge about the Flames. But yeah, do you despise the Edmonton Oilers considering you kind of live in Edmonton?
Pretty much. For me, since I started really watching hockey, it's kind of always been for me FTO hours all day, every day.
Mm-hmm. So basically, you're situated in Edmonton, correct?
Yep, Sherwood Park.
Oh, okay. And how did you become a Flames fan?
My grandparents.
Oh, okay.
Grandparents were, and it was actually one like the first game I kind of remember watching on TV was like one of the last games of the season, 2003, right before the playoffs kicked off. It was a Battle of Alberta, and the Flames dog walked the Oilers like 5-0. And because it was 03,
Yeah,
we're back in like the enforcer era and the brawls, and they didn't fare much. The Oilers didn't fare much better on the fight card either.
Mm-hmm. Well, we have a BOA coming up this Saturday. I mean, we're recording on Sunday, so there's still a couple of games and days before that. But the Oilers and Flames haven't faced off since November and
Since the day
October.
after game day 2024 for Extra Life there.
Yeah,
Because I don't remember much of that game because I think I'd finally woken up.
Yeah, you did a
partway through the first
24-hour
period.
stream?
Yep. 25 because thanks, time change.
Yeah, Walker here does a lot of charitable initiatives for YEG Extra Life and streams on Twitch. So if you want to check him out, great content, by the way, always funny. Interesting enough, you were in my Twitch recap for 2024. So whenever I don't go on Twitch a ton, but when I do, I usually check you out.
Yeah, we do our best around here.
Yeah.
But yeah, still weird. Like another one of the weird NHL scheduling things because was last season was that we crammed all 3 BOAs before the calendar flipped.
I think so, yes.
And then this year we got Canadian Thanksgiving, game day, and then massive gap,
Mm-hmm.
end of March, well after trade deadline.
Kind of feels similar to this year as well. I mean, the NHL has been really weird with the scheduling of the BOA. I mean, I think it was 2022 when the Flames had a pretty decent run where they played a few times and there were some important games in line. But yeah, I wish we had a little bit more because, like you said, there was a giant gap from we play October, November, and now we're playing in the end of March, and then I think that's it. It's 3 BOAs.
Yeah, we only get the 3 this year.
But I want you to explain to me what has happened with the Calgary Flames this season because they're fighting for a playoff spot, and some of the Flames fan base they either don't want the playoff spot, they want a top prospect, but also playoffs does sound enticing.
And that is the thing right there. It is that wonderful dangling carrot. Even though we as a fan base have been stuck in this spin cycle of not good enough to really be considered a contender, but not outright bad enough to just torpedo and go for a top prospect. The other problem with that is this year's upcoming draft, our pick, unless we completely crater and get a top 10 pick, our pick is property of the Montreal Canadiens, the Monahan trade.
Jesus, okay, I didn't expect that. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I've been pounding the pavement about that for basically the whole season. Is like our pick is not our pick unless Florida unless we somehow crater down to a bottom 10 to like a top 10 pick or somehow finish better than Florida because we got Florida's first in the Tkachuk trade. One of those picks, the better of the two of them, minus the top 10 protection, is property of Montreal so that the Flames could attach Sean Monahan's $6 million contract for them to get Nazem Kadri.
Mm-hmm.
Was that chain of events there. And then big shout outs to Montreal as well for being able to take Monahan's brief time with Montreal and flip him to Winnipeg for a first round pick last year.
Yeah.
Montreal got 2 first round picks for the same player from 2 different teams.
So, I mean, where do you stand right now? Like, are you pretty hyped with the Flames season?
I lean more toward Team Hopium.
Yeah.
Although it kind of goes from like a week to week thing. Like if you'd asked me about this Monday after that Leafs game, I'd be like, nope, burn it down.
Mm-hmm.
Burn it down. Pour the gas, light the match, burn it down. Because that was bad.
Let me see here.
But then the rest of the week here, they had the immediate game after against the Rangers the next day where they just ran their show up and down the ice.
Mm-hmm.
The Devils game where our old pal Jacob Markstrom had one more wonderful performance in him. Thanks, buddy. Needed that one. And then yesterday with the Islanders, it was there were a few things where it was like if this team gets into the playoffs, I'm going to be very concerned because there's some defensive miscues. That third pair is always just it's like, hold on to your hats, folks. We don't know what they're going to do now.
Speaking on the with the Calgary defense, I mean, Mackenzie Weegar, how's he been this year? Because, you look at the giveaways, he's apparently leads the NHL in giveaways, but he seems to be a decent defenseman from what I've heard.
He is like the giveaway stat. It's kind of like, I remember watching this video on from Secret Base about the most turnovers in high score for like most turnovers in a basketball game. And a lot of the guys that are on that list, it's not like your bottom of the chart guys. It's like your top guys because they're always in that higher pressure situation and it's going to happen. So I can live with it. I can live with it, especially after watching yesterday's game where Weegar was out like hours before the game started. And it was like, oh, this defense is really not that good without him.
Jesus. Okay. Wait, so hold on. Did Weegar play? I missed that.
No, Weegar did not play against.
Oh, interesting.
He did not play against the Islanders. Like it was literal hours before.
Okay.
Before puck drop there, because I was scrolling Twitter right before I went live for the sidecast, and it was like, oh, Farabee's out with an illness. Oh, Uyghur's out.
Yeah.
Problem.
But they still managed to defeat the Islanders. I mean, it's the Islanders, to be fair. They are swimming in a different world right now.
They are a team they are a team. That is about the nicest way I can put it. Is they are a team, and Patrick Waugh is a coach.
Yeah, and then it's something. So the fact that they were still able to get a win is pretty impressive. What is the status of Mackenzie Weegar? Do we know yet?
To the best of my knowledge, no. I can quickly have a look here and see, but I don't think there was anything immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Like even Backlund's week-to-week injury, it's still listed on like the roster thing there as like upper body.
Interesting.
Well, and according to this thing is like, according now he's healthy. He's expected back for he's expected back for the Seattle game, which is huge because the defense needs it.
Right. And I mean, from what I've also heard from, everyone I work with at Flames Nation, I remember I had a conversation with Pinder and Jasper, and he's telling me this team is not a playoff team without Dustin Wolf.
Nope. Nope.
We've
kind of been dancing. We've kind of been dancing around that and not really mentioning it right out of the hop here. But yeah, this team lives, breathes, and dies by Dustin Wolf.
Fair enough. Yeah. Honestly, there was a point in time where I was kind of scared. Like if the Oilers matched up with the Flames, Dustin Wolf kind of scares me just because a young goaltender who can get hot in the playoffs. That is a scary thought. They are a little bit voodoo because he has been phenomenal, and the Flames have done a great job of developing him over the years. So, do you think he should be in the Calder conversation, or because Lane Hudson seems to be leading that?
See, I think I just saw a video earlier from Pinder and gang there too. Is like, I know this was just straight up on like the Sportsnet broadcast for Hockey Night Canada. Is like, if the Flames make the playoffs, Wolf almost has to win it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I mean, yes, but in the same breath, it's like Hudson's having himself a beast of a season. And Montreal is in that same sort of bubble spot that the Flames themselves are, but Montreal at the moment is actually still sitting in that spot. Whereas the Flames are trapped 2 points behind the Blues.
That's actually a good point. And then, like, it's very interesting, Dustin Wolf, because I think Pinder was saying, oh, maybe he should be in the Hart Trophy conversation. I'm like, well, that's
okay. That's a little bit excessive.
I'm like, holy, just because this was back in January, I guess, but
that might have been during the time where he was absolutely a world beater there. And that was also partly due to the fact that they were winning games despite scoring an average of 2.6 or something goals a game, where it was like, oh, yeah, no, there's a reason that this team is doing good, and it's not the offense.
Now, for Oilers fans would love a goalie like Dustin Wolf based on the reactions I see online. And I mean, Stuart Skinner has been far from perfect this year. Calvin Pickard has been okay. There's one area the Flames may be able to take advantage of the Oilers on Saturday. It's probably the goaltending, because with Stuart Skinner, it feels like, his rebound control has been a bit of a mess. I find his lateral movement left to right can be hit or miss. He has been an adventure this year, and I mean, you see all the Oilers fans probably on social media. What have you made of Stuart Skinner?
I have, from what I've seen, it's been very up and down. It's like, this is the wagon you guys hitched to, and it seems like when it's good, it's great, but when it's not, you guys are very quick with the torches. There's some that are very quick with the torch and pitchforks. Like a bunch of guys that I was living up for work there, they're a bunch of Oilers fans, and I find out very quickly if Stewie's having a bad game.
Oh yeah,
I can hear them from the basement. I was like, oh, it's a bad one, isn't it? Check. Oh, it's a bad one. Oh, we need to. I'm just gonna stay upstairs for a bit.
Yeah, and last night against the it was another good example there, because with against Kraken.
Yeah, I was kind of keeping a side eye on that during the stream there too. Is like somebody in my chat would comment, it's like, "Hey, the Oilers scored," and then not even like a minute later, damn it, Seattle scored again.
Yes, that was exactly it.
I was like, a save.
Yeah.
at times you're not even really looking for like you don't need a goalie to just be a like 950 goal. You don't need somebody to try and pull like Hasek numbers or Kippersoft numbers and that. But a timely save.
Mm-hmm.
A timely save when your team gives you run support, you gotta hold up your end of the bargain and make a save there. And that was one thing that I did kind of enjoy about the Devils game there, even though a bit of that was probably more of the misadventures of Jacob Markstrom again. But it was one of the few games that the Flames actually gave Wolf some run support when Wolf started out with he didn't have a great game against the Devils. And again, the less said about the Monday game against the Leafs, the better. But yeah, in the Devils game, he got the run support, and it was like, thank you. He needs that.
Yeah, it's been kind of the case with Stuart Skinner this year. Is that I think the Oilers management, like, they've been pretty protective of him because Stampone was an after hour. He's like, oh, the criticism's been a little too heavy on him, and it's like they kind of feel like, oh, if we build around him, he's fine. He's been to Game 7 of the Cup final. I'm like, but that's just a small sample size. I don't know. I haven't been the happiest with Stuart Skinner's season just because at the start of the year he was not great, and then in December he had a decent run. I'm like, okay, he's turning a corner. And ever since it's been up and down, up and down, and up and down.
Yeah, also in a way, kind of like the team was there, like coming out of the Four Nations. I was like, is this the same team? Is this the team that's going to end up? Are they going to give up home ice advantage to the Kings here? Because,
well, I mean, the Pacific Division's very strange right now. It's not been great.
Yeah, it's a three-way log jam up at the top. Then you've got the Calgary-Vancouver log jam.
Yeah.
Featuring run-ins from St. Louis and Utah. And then you've got Seattle kind of drifting in the nothingness. Then you've got
a great way to describe Seattle, by the way.
And then you've got the Ducks and the already eliminated Sharks.
Yes. And I personally like the teams in the Pacific Division, because the San Jose Sharks, like for all their young talent, they are fun to watch, and it hasn't been as doom and gloom as the Chicago Blackhawks, for example. So.
Yeah, no, that has just been a mess.
Yeah. So there was a part of me like last night. I looked at the standings, and I think LA might have won or something. I'm like, could the Calgary Flames catch the LA Kings? I mean, I don't know. The Flames, the Kings don't seem like they're going to stop winning. They've been pretty solid this year, but
no, it's an 8-point gap between Calgary and LA at the moment. There is the one matchup that they have to have with each other. That is the makeup game from when the fires were raging down in California there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
As it stands according to the schedule there, I think that's going to be our game 82.
Okay, interesting.
So unfortunately for the Flames, like game 81 and game 82. They got to run through Vegas.
Ooh.
And then they're going to have that showdown with the Kings for game 82, and that one could have some pretty heavy implications as well.
Yeah, I mean the Flames schedule doesn't seem the easiest coming up here. They got the Stars.
We got Dallas, Edmonton on Saturday, then Colorado right after that.
Colorado's an interesting case because I saw last night they lost to Montreal, I think, in the shootout, and like
I thought they won in the shootout.
Did they?
They won in the shootout.
Okay, I must have been mistaken there. But even then, they are a team you can score against. But then again, Cale Makar, Nathan McKinnon, that is a team that will punish you.
Remember sitting down at like it wasn't a BP's, it was like a lounge somewhere down in Brooks for game 3 of the Flames and the Avalanche, and that was when Makar made his NHL debut. And the entire place was full of like Avalanche jerseys and Brooks Bandits Makar jerseys.
Oh wow!
And I'm like
something.
And like I am the one dude there in a Flames jersey. I'm like, who is this Makar kid, and why is everybody like rocking their? Oh, that's who he is. And I watched him torment the Flames for 60 minutes. I was like, yeah, that kid's gonna be a problem.
Well, what year was this?
That was 2019.
Oh my goodness, yeah. I mean, I personally think Cale Makar is the best defenseman in the NHL. That guy can just seem to do everything right.
And head and shoulders league of his own.
Yeah, like whenever, I mean, there's times where Oilers fans, I think last year, were comparing, Evan Bouchard to Cale Makar. I'm like, please don't put them in the same conversation.
Ew.
No. For me, it's Makar, Hughes, and then, I mean, Zach Werenski's had a pretty good year, too, with the Blue Jackets.
He has had a great year, and
yeah.
I'm kind of pulling for Columbus to
Oh, I mean, it's hard not
backdoor to the playoffs.
of course. But back to the Flames real quick. Like, do you think they can do something in the playoffs, or does it depend on the matchup?
I think a lot of it is going to have to do with the matchup.
Yeah,
because Calgary and Winnipeg play each other. They don't play each other often, but they play each other well.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of we're splitting back and forth there. I mean, they are doing quite well this year.
Mm-hmm.
But with us being able to kind of trade with them, and Wolf can kind of stand on his head at times, they've been able to steal the one there. I don't know if I'd like a matchup with Vegas.
Yeah, Vegas can surprise you. Trust me. I know from past experiences when we faced them in round 2. I thought, oh, we should be able to be tough, but they've got some good experienced players. Their goaltending knows how to win. Their defense, it's a lot of experience, a lot of depth.
Yeah, the only thing that I also take from that too is like there hasn't really been like too many close games between Calgary and Vegas. It's been a blowout one way or the other.
Interesting. Okay.
Like, most of them they've gone Vegas's way, but then I know there was a couple of nights where Chucky went off and just destroyed them. I remember back in their in Vegas's first season, the final game it was the final game of the regular season. The Flames just dummied them 7-1, and Jankowski had a 4-goal night, and I was like,
yeah,
hey, that guy could be good. We could build off that, and we did not.
Well, I just want to kind of talk about the Flames forwards this year because everyone's talking about Dustin Wolf, but I mean, Jonathan Huberdeau, has he kind of stepped up his game?
I think him pairing with him kind of pairing with Kadri there for a little bit was good. We kind of got the two guys that we pursued in free agency one way or the other. He certainly not going to say that he's worth the 10-5 at the moment, but he's definitely played up a lot better than he has the last couple of years. I know he was kind of like the father figure to Pelche before they traded him to Philly, but he's kind of also brought in exchange for that is now he's kind of with Frost, and now he's got Coronado there with him as well, while Kadri's got his running buddy Zary. Those two are always a joy. Those two are a joy to watch a lot of nights. Is they make some magic in the offensive zone, and then you have the bowling ball that is Pospisil.
Yeah,
sort of clearing the way for everybody.
Well, Nazem Kadri's had actually not a terrible year. 26 goals, 26 assists. I mean, minus 16, but plus minus is a
it's a funky stat.
Yes,
because some of it's kind of superficial. Some of it is like, okay, I know that is your fault.
Yeah, but when I look at Nazem Kadri, I think honestly, if he was an Oiler, he would probably be my favorite Oiler just because he brings that physicality. He's not afraid to get in someone's face. I like a lot of things about Nazem Kadri. He's quite vocal. He's a good leader, I think. And with Colorado, he was electric. And now with the Flames, I think he's had a good year. And I don't know. I think Kadri's a guy in the BOA on Saturday. I definitely have to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, I'm going to be a little leery about it if they make the playoffs, just because it's like, I know in Colorado he didn't do anything. He didn't do anything egregious in Colorado, but I do remember the days with the Leafs.
To be fair, in that Colorado series, he did get Evander Kane kind of took him out of the playoffs. I remember that was a hit to the head from behind, and yeah, it was pretty ugly. So
yeah, it's more I'm worried about him doing something like that.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I didn't think it was.
I remember like the Leafs series and that where it would be like Leafs Bruins,
yeah,
and then Kadri would just paste somebody, or he would lose his temper for a second, paste somebody, and would either get suspended for a couple of games, or his last season he basically got suspended for the rest of the first round.
Mm-hmm. So, what are you thinking about Saturday night against the Oilers, considering the Oilers have two of their mega stars out, possibly? I mean, I don't know if Leon Draisaitl is going to be back. He might be back sooner than McDavid. It's hard to say. Nobody really knows. They're
keeping those cards close to their chest there.
Yeah. So
much like what I'm looking at with Seattle here is Seattle is still very much an NHL team. As much as I like to dunk on the Oilers for it being like, it's McDavid. It's the McDavid and Draisaitl show, and not a whole lot else. It's still an NHL team. There's still guys there that can do that. And actually, hilariously, I remember one of my earliest write-ups that I did was a game during the division realigned season where the Oilers just beat the piss out of the Flames. Was like, I think the game was still going on when I started writing it. So I think it was like 7-1 or something. But I think McDavid only had like 1 assist. Leon only had, actually, I think Leon was just a straight up passenger that game.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like Cassian had scored and everybody else did. And I was like, this is the ultimate shut up Walker game. They have depth. They are a team. They are still a team more than just those 2 guys. So even though going into this game Saturday, they are not in the lineup, you still have to you still got to play them. You still got to respect them enough as that they're an NHL team and that you're going to have to play them. Like you're not just going to brush them aside. And especially too, like you said, Draisaitl might be back.
Yeah, I don't really know. Like I said, the Oilers tend to keep things pretty close to their chest in terms of injuries, especially with their top stars. And you mentioned the depth. The depth has been kind of up and down this year. It's been starting to step up recently, like Jeff Skinner scoring, Arvidsson scoring, Nugent Hopkins has been pretty good recently. A lot of guys taking advantage of these extra ice time that's no longer being allocated to McDavid and Draisaitl. And fortunately, the Oilers do have a pretty healthy defense with Matthias Ekholm back. Of course, Darnell Nurse can be an adventure. He's been good. He can be an adventure. Same with Evan Bouchard. He's been good this year.
I feel like he's been slightly better this year than a couple of years past, where it's like, oh, that contract's aging like milk already.
Yeah. It's been a battle to defend Darnell Nurse because I like him as a player, but there are times where he frustrates me. Same with Evan Bouchard, or that's been probably the number 1 whipping boy in Edmonton has been Evan Bouchard because the turnovers are ugly. He can score, but they're ugly in his own zone.
It's if he can. It's sort of like if he can clean that, like either clean that up or get the production that the turnovers don't matter as much.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's probably not as big of a deal. But you're kind of in that not so lovely middle ground.
Yeah, and I anticipate the Oilers will probably start Stuart Skinner. They tend to lean to him more for the BOA. The Oilers do have a back-to-back this week, I believe, against the Dallas Stars and the Seattle Kraken again. So a couple tough tests here, and the Flames are going to be, the BOA is always fun.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember because I'm pretty sure the first one this year on Thanksgiving, I'm pretty sure that was Vladar in net.
I might have been actually.
And yeah, I do not remember. I'm honestly just going to look this up right now.
Probably a good idea.
I don't remember at all on the day on the game day one who was in net for that one because after 25 hours, I wasn't exactly focusing on a hockey game at the moment. That was the 4-2 loss. Dan was in net for the 4-2 loss after game day. And the Oilers are straight up not seeing Dustin Wolf. It was Dan in both games.
Oh, interesting.
It was Dan in both games.
Wow. Okay.
In the beginning of the season, too, Huska hadn't really picked a lane.
Huh.
That was when he was going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth.
Okay. I'm just
he hadn't really picked a lane yet as to like who the guy was going to be. And then Dan started having some performances that weren't so great. And Wolf was just shining. It was like, there's your path. Take it.
Just looking back at those scores for the Oilers, at least, Jeff Skinner scored his first as an Oiler, I believe, in that game against the Flames in October, and then of course Matthias Janmark managed to score against the Flames in November. The man who cannot score for to save his life unless it's a Game 7.
Yeah, and I remember, and the one thing I do remember too about that, about the Thanksgiving game, at least, that was the game that the league found out that the Flames video review team may in fact be the most elite thing they have. Because what was it, like at least 2, I want to say like 3, that the video team were like, look at that again. Run that back.
I mean, the first game I remember that vividly because Derek Ryan scored a nice breakaway. I'm like, DR10. I was very excited, and then I kind of I made a joke on Twitter saying, "Oh, they should turn it over for Derek Ryan." And I mean, I assume some Flames fans didn't understand my jokes. They took a couple liberties at me. I was like, but that is social media, right?
Yeah.
So, kind of just do you have any predictions for this game?
Not really, because these two have been close, but we've seen games in the past, be it playoff or otherwise, where just all of a sudden the entire area just drinks stupid juice and it turns into a 9-6 game.
Mm-hmm.
We could have a 9-5 game. We could have another 8-3 with a goalie fight. I doubt that one's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I'm thinking we're probably gonna see I'm thinking we're gonna look at around like a 4-3 or maybe like a 5-3.
I could see that. For the Flames or just both teams, like it could be either or toss up.
I'm gonna say it's gonna go either way.
Yeah.
Just because I know on the Flame side as of late, like the goaltending they haven't really had like the best run this last week and a bit here. Like the one really good goaltending performance was the Rangers, but that was also they only faced 12 shots.
Mm-hmm.
And the Flames just basically suffocated the Rangers. But yeah, like I said, Wolf didn't have the greatest game in Jersey. The Leafs game existed, and Dan did not have the greatest night in net against the Islanders, but the team was still able to battle and fight and stay in there and then get the OT win. So
I'm struggling to think of a score line here because if the Oilers are McDavid and Draisaitl still, it's hard to say what the score is. I mean, they put up a few goals against the Seattle Kraken, but the Flames, Dustin Wolf is a little bit tougher test. I feel like it's gonna be low scoring. The Oilers have had a lot of low scoring games this year. They haven't been scoring as much as past years, so I will give it a 4-3 game. I want to go with the Oilers. Could be the other way. Of course, I'm gonna be a little biased there, but it's like we'll see what happens against Dallas because Seattle. That was a good time for them to have McDavid and Draisaitl on the lineup.
Yeah, and then with the Flames, they've got, like I said, they got Seattle Tuesday, and then they got Dallas on Thursday. That'll be a good little litmus test there for how they're going to fare against some of the top teams if they manage to make it in the playoffs. Like I don't remember who I was talking to, but it was like, I keep saying that this will be a good litmus test. It's like, no, we're at game 70 now. The litmus test is done.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to be like a playoff, unless you're like a low seeded playoff team, then you have your litmus test of what are you going to do against the top of the division kind of thing in this late stage of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And in a way, the Flames do kind of have that, even though they are sitting on the outside right now. They are going to need a little bit of help from any of St. Louis's opponents. But as I'd found out checking out their schedule, they've got a little bit nicer schedule. A lot of games with Nashville and Chicago.
Speaking of schedule, I wanted to turn things to kind of the recent NHL news because I was listening to Pierre LeBrun on Bob Stauffer show when he was saying the NHL is kind of thinking of making an 84-game schedule for the 26-27 season. Now, of course, they would need the NHLPA, the CBA, like the players would kind of have to approve that and sign off on that, but it's something where they're thinking, okay, 84-game schedule, but they shorten the preseason and the season starts in September. Personally, it kind of makes sense in the way that you might be able to get more divisional matchups, like more BOAs, more Canucks games. The schedule will be a little bit more balanced, but in the same breath, like I feel like the 82 games is pretty long.
82 is good. I kind of loosely follow baseball a bit, and 162 games
that sounds
nuts. Is nuts. I mean, I get it too because they also play you have your 3-4 game series, so you're not traveling all the time. But you have your 3-4 game sets there in the same city, and then carry on. But it's a little aggressive. I just also quickly ran as 84 divided by 3. If you were to play 3 games against every year, is that comes up to around 28.
Mm-hmm.
So in a 29 team league, that number works out nicely to be like 3 games for every single one. No funny business.
Yeah, and there's also of course the NHL schedule is a little wonky right now because they have 32 teams, and now there's been talk of Houston and Atlanta coming into the league, which will be 34, which I also think is too many teams for the NHL. Considering I don't get it. The NHL is trying to do a lot right now. It feels like.
Well, trying to continue to build the brand when they had the best chance to do it, when like they had a good deal going in like the late 90s and that, and like basketball was kind of starting to fall off a little bit.
Yeah.
Right around the time of Jordan retiring for the second time. And it was like the NHL is going to be the thing to be. And then the NHL just sort of got lazy or were puffing their own farts and believed the hype too much. And all of a sudden now they're like a distant 5th place in the States for like sport popularity.
Mm-hmm.
And they're trying to catch up to something that they had their finger on the pulse of earlier.
Right. And then the other conversation that's been happening recently is just like the playoff format. Do you think 1 versus 8? Do you think they should go back to that, or do you like the current format?
From watching the playoffs with both sets there, like the 1 to 8 does give you the chance to not bottleneck some of your top teams into early matchups with each other. But in contrast of that, that's the playoffs. It's still kind of happened with the 1 through 8 format when you had three divisions.
Right.
Your top three divisions would get your division winner got the top 3 spots. And more often than not, it was in the East with the I believe it would be the Southeast division, which is the one with like the Capitals, the Lightning, the Panthers, the Hurricanes, and the Thrashers/Jets. You'd have like one team, usually Washington at that time, would win the division, but they would maybe like barely, or like they'd win the division, but they wouldn't have like the best record. They would it's kind of be like win by default kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
And then 4 through 6 would be in the other divisions, and they'd have like your 6 seed has more points than your 3 seed. Yet they're the road team.
Mm-hmm.
So like both sides have their flaws. Right now, I don't mind the division matchups here because it does kind of help promote the playoff rivalry a little more. Maybe it's also because my team hasn't been victimized by having to play a juggernaut in the first round all of a sudden.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm kind of annoyed that we've played the LA Kings. Well, it might be 4 times in a row now, and it feels weird. But it is what it is. I don't mind it. The LA Kings eventually have to win. That's my thing. Like I'd be so annoyed if I was.
Here's the minor spoiler for this one. If you like patterns, it's not going to be this year.
Oh, you don't think it's going to be this year? Wait, what? Why do you say that?
Here's the pattern. First year, Oilers win in 7. Year 2, Oilers win in 6. Year 3, Oilers win in 5. This year.
Okay.
It's probably going to be a sweep if the pattern is. It'll be a sweep if the pattern is to continue.
I never expected a Flames fan to give me some hope. Thank you for that. I mean, I see where you're coming from, which I hope. I just think LA's a little bit better than they were last year. So, but
they are, but they're also still. They still have their up and down moments. Like they caught fire out of the 4 nations there, but then they sort of stumbled. And that was when the Flames had got hot for a second there. It was like, oh, are they actually going to overtake them? Nope.
Interesting. Okay. I like
that. And then it also then the Kings also got hot again. And now the Kings and Oilers are bouncing back and forth for that 2-3 spot there.
Well, we should be bouncing with the Golden Knights for first place, but the Oilers decided to take a little bit of a tumble. But that's the name of the game.
Extended vacation and Vegas also refusing to go away.
Yes, exactly. Very annoying. With that being said, Walker, I think we can wrap things up here. Just lastly, where can people find you? What do you do online?
So you can find me on Twitter at WalkerDTM. You can find me at Blue Sky at WalkerDTM. You can find me on Twitch at WalkerPipeGuy. And if I'm not home here streaming, try the other two, and you might find me randomly posting my random thoughts and or my self-indulgent write-ups of the Flames and or doing the little live tweeting of the games when they happen, because some of them are kind of bland, but some of them it's like, oh, all of the shit's happening, so this is gonna be fun.
Hell yeah. Perfect. Well, I appreciate you. Thank you for joining me. And with that being said, that has been, I think, episode 3 of the Wazcast. I don't know when my next episode will be because I fly out to Vegas next Sunday. So I'm going to try and figure something out. If there's no episode next week, maybe I'll do a Vegas recap thing because, yeah.
Yeah, that might just be a good move in general.
Honestly, I like where your head's at. Perfect. Thank you, sir. All right. Take care.
It's free content.
True.